Hello everyone, I want to share with you my personal take on the character of Alastor, his importance in the plot of Hazbin Hotel, and what I think are the possibilities of what his endgame could be potentially looking like. As somebody who studies the esoteric and the occult, I see the character of Alastor with a special symbolism that reaches way far beyond the surface level reading of radio demon or smiling sociopath. I think that after season 2, it has become increasingly clear that Alastor is not just a villain or an obstacle or just a chaotic wildcard. He is an archetype, and an archetype that has very ancient roots. I have spent quite some time studying and investigating the figure of the Trickster in mythology. Actually, I'm reading a book about it just right now, and I have learned that this figure of the Trickster and what it means culturally has completely changed my understanding of what could be Alastor's endgame. When you study tricksters across mythology, folklore, and ritual magic, you start to understand that the Trickster is not this clown or this saboteur, and he's just not a chaotic distraction. He is an agent of transformation. He disrupts very rigid systems, not because he is petty, but because systems without disruption become tyrannical, even if they began with good intentions. This dynamic becomes very relevant in a universe like the one of Hazbin Hotel, where hell and heaven operate with rigid, ancient, and possibly unfair structures. Power concentrates and order becomes oppression, as we saw in season 2 with Vox's entire character arc. When order becomes oppressive, the only force capable of cracking it open is chaos. That is the true nature of the Trickster. His entire existence prevents the universe from freezing in its place. When we apply the lens of the Trickster to Alastor, his behaviors become very coherent because he is not truly aligned with heaven or with hell, sinners, angels, or redemption arcs. He is aligned with the concept of motion. Throughout various different stories, tricksters are usually these aberrations, these glitches in the matrix of cosmic order, precisely because they have to be. They break rules because rules that go unchallenged become cages. In hell, a place built of rigid hierarchy, as we understand it in the show, these cycles of violence and unchanging punishment, stagnation is a form of spiritual entrapment. A character, for example, like Vox represents this perfectly. He is a dictator and he's masquerading as order, using control, conformity, and all these things to maintain his position. But when you look at the character of Alastor, by contrast, he feels like an archetypal opposite. He is the anarchist. He is not somebody who is seeking just this mindless destruction, but rather somebody who's seeking freedom through the dismantling of oppressive structures. And speaking about his whole theme with oppressive structures, you can look at his human life and understand why he is that way to begin. Alastor was a man of color in the 1930s, a time where racism was not just a social problem, but it was an institutionalized reality. Someone who was born into a world that doesn't simply dislike control. He has been completely oppressed by it. He has felt its violence. He has watched entire structures take place around him and take from him the freedom that he should have inherently possessed. So it makes perfect sense that he carries this complete distrust of hierarchical systems, because in life, those systems were designated to crush him. This is why I think that the archetype of the anarchist fits him perfectly, because he's not just a destroyer, he is somebody who refuses to live or exist under a system that is designed to cage and entrap him. Now, there is a part about his relationship with Rosie that I find quite interesting, and I want to address it. In season 2, she makes this comment about respecting the fact that Alastor was ahead of the game, way before his time of death. This is extraordinarily unusual, but if you start dipping your toes into occult history, it's also something that's extremely believable. Think, for example, of the ancient Egyptians and their obsession with the afterlife. Medieval ceremonial magicians making all these pacts and protections. You start preparing for death in ways that other people prepare for college, and it becomes an inevitable transition that you can actually negotiate. I think his magical history is something that the show hasn't super deeply gone into, but it is heavily implied that his decisions were not only driven by revenge or trauma. They were very strategic. They were shaped by knowledge of forces beyond the human world. He is somebody who's quite intelligent, and in his intelligence, he might have discovered things that put him in an advantageous position. His actions might have not been about the living at all. They might have to do with a way bigger game, about the after structure of hell. This situates him as a character who transcends the pettiness of just being a villain. He is playing on a cosmic board that most sinners don't even understand exists. Back to his relationship with Rosie, there is something very interesting that I want to go into. I think this is where my theory gets a little bit unconventional, but I think it's still quite compelling. Rosie seems to notice and imply that Alastor was unusually suited for becoming Hell's most powerful sinner. She deliberately tells him, "You are different from the rest." She doesn't say he's evil. She doesn't say he's an asshole. She says he is special, capable of holding a type of power that others could not withstand. Now let's stop for a minute and think about what this means. In occult literature, there is this idea of souls having different types of architectures. Some souls can hold like immense amounts of light, some immense darkness, and some chaos. It is very interesting that the architecture of Alastor's soul made him specifically fit for this one role. If we follow this line of thinking, he might have been uniquely tuned to hold a pure, potent form of chaos. Not evil, necessarily, chaos. The cosmic counterweight to stagnant order. The thing is that chaos in spiritual systems is not morally aligned. It is a force of nature. Now, are forces of nature good or evil? Let's think about something in nature extremely harmful, something bad that everybody knows is bad. Mold, let's say black mold. Mold is harmful to humans. It can sicken us and it can even kill us. But if mold did not exist, entire ecosystems would collapse. Without decay, without things breaking down organic matter, nutrients would not return to the soil. Mold is unpleasant. It is dangerous, but it is necessary. And I think that with the same metaphor, we can understand how the role of the trickster or the anarchist can be necessary to a story, even if it causes great harm. I think removing Alastor from the equation would imbalance the entire cosmology of Hazbin Hotel. I don't think Alastor is anywhere close to being a hero, but he might not be a villain either. He is a force of entropy, of unpredictability, and transformation. He is like the black mold on an ecosystem that needs to be decomposed. He is like the chaos that prevents Hell's hierarchy from becoming eternal and trapping. And in a show where the entire plot revolves around dismantling a broken afterlife system, a character like Alastor is not just relevant, he may be absolutely essential. He may be the very thing that makes transformation possible. But I guess we just have to sit down and wait for season 3.